And
You are live.
there we go.
Where would we be without you? Thank you. Good evening and welcome. It's a regular scheduled meeting of the Bangor City Council. Today is Monday, August 12th at 7:30 p.m. We begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask the city manager to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is a portion of the meeting set aside for public comment. Public comment, whether in person or through Zoom, requires you to state your name and whether you are a resident of Bangor. Inappropriate or offensive marks may be interrupted and removed. The council chair has discretion over the time allowed for comment. Tonight we will have 60 minutes for public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes for comment and no more. If you do not live in Bangor or own property in Bangor, please allow those who do live and own property here to have the opportunity to speak first. If you'd like to offer comment on any item not appearing on the regular agenda, you may approach the podium. On the Zoom, the public may be recognized to speak by the hand raise function or on the phone by pressing star 9.
What time?
I'll go first. Not yet.
I'm sorry.
My name is Scott Party, and I'm a resident of Bangor. I'm here to speak tonight on two things. First, OPC Part 9. I listened tonight to the Opioid Settlement Fund's proposal, and I think this makes good sense. More details are definitely needed. The most important part of prevention would be an OPC, Overdose Prevention Center. As we've heard from Tyler Shanahan and me about OPCs, are all about prevention. Prevention starts with education. An OPC offers education. Exposure to recovery to recovery is prevention. We already have an area that would be ideal for this location. That is the area at or near the Hope House. With the latest incidents regarding illegal drug dealing at encampments, bringing light to what this area could be used for. I do ask that breaking up the encampments be looked at carefully and thoughtfully. If we clear the encampment out, they will relocate. Perhaps find a different area for them. Let us stop with half measures and work together to build an OPC. It accomplishes everything we are all working for. Part 2 concerns the Hampton Waste Facility. I have reached out to the MRC by email asking if there is an alternative plan should this plant not work. I have not heard back, but I do expect I will. I'm asking if the city is involved in a back plan should this facility never operate. I'm not sure that the city has a plan. I'm going to read a quote from a news story from WABI. This quote is from John Condella, CEO of Innovative Resources. For any project, you really want to make sure you get your design nailed down early on in the process because in a large project like this, if you don't have your design finalized, what that does just leads up to cost overruns and compromising your design, which challenges you at startup. The acknowledgement that design is not even finalized is very concerning. I believe this plant will never operate. Finally, a fresh start update. We currently have 153 beds in 17 locations. The newest one is in Orono with 12 beds and on the bus route. The city's homeless response manager reached out to us last Wednesday about a person from Camp Hope that had gone to detox and needed housing. I responded with our procedures to get into Fresh Start. Jenna Jones, Debbie Laurie, New Horizons Detox and Fresh Start worked to house this person in Fresh Start, and he didn't have to go back to the street. That's a nice success story. 35% of Fresh Start membership came to us unhoused. That's an important thing to say, I think. This worked quickly and was the exception, not the norm. Working together really works. That's all I got. Thank you.
Oh, you should have told me.
Oh, that's all right. It's just mine, just one sheet. Hi, I'm Michael Beck. I reside at 216 3rd Street. Just want to start by, first of all, I don't want to comment about the actual specifics of it, but just to acknowledge the fact that, later on tonight, this will begin the ARPA month. It's a long process, and I think regardless, obviously, we're never going to make everyone 100% happy. I've been up here plenty of times, I don't have to tell you. But we can acknowledge the fact that that was a lot of hard work. And you did it, you got through it, and that is something that all of us in Bangor can appreciate. So, and I do appreciate being able to get up here and give my opinion, maybe sometimes more passionate than others, but I do appreciate being heard and given the opportunity. The other part of ARPA, though, I do want to speak about tonight is the interest money. So as of June 30th, after you take out the sidewalk plow and the money paid to the consultant for ARPA, there's just a hair over $700,000 of interest left. And once again, I'd like to make a case for the firefighters. What I passed out is from the annual report that you're actually going to be accepting tonight. Table 16 shows you the number of employees. Table 17 shows you the number of calls. I believe there might be a typo for the fire department. Yeah, I don't think they took that many calls, maybe an 8 instead of a 0, but still there was an increase. Even at 10,500 calls, that's an 8% increase with 7 less bodies. Some of you sitting here tonight heard from them last summer. It was a trying time for all of them, and they put their necks out on the line for us. They kept us safe. Many people have moved on since then, so they wouldn't need the full $800,000 they asked for. But I think it would be a wonderful gesture, something to tell our firefighters, we see you, we hear you, we appreciate you. And for those 60 or 65 still left since that time that would be eligible, maybe reach out to the department, see how we can work to give them some of that interest money. I think it would go a long way to make them feel appreciated. I know we call them heroes, we clap for them, we thank them, but something tangible that we can give them to say, we really appreciate what you do for the city. And this interest money is a perfect source for that funding. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak on that. Thank you.
Good evening. Name is Michael Norton, 83 Elm Street, Apartment C, Bangor, Maine. How many here? Well, I have been making audio and video projects since I was in the single digits. Did all the members say that for themselves as well? Anyone in the room who's been making audio video projects? There we have Lizzie. Lizzie and I, that's it. Okay. Well, we all are because we have audio video going on right now. You guys deploy equipment for that and technicians. I just wanted to say tonight that this city and the state and this region is wearing me out. It's just tiring me out. I should be walking into the Southern California University, USC in LA, in a week because that's faculty welcome day. But the way people communicate in this community is terrible and deceptive and manipulative. We need to free UAE Jesuits. We've talked about Ukraine and Russia, and we've talked about Israel and Palestine. We've brought both sides into the humane conversation here in the City Hall. Let's free the UAE Jesuits because they need just as much help as anyone else in any time zone on this planet and in any country. They've got some help in places like 40 Wall Street in New York City. They have cartographers there working on improving their skills in map design and earth science design and illustration and publishing and distribution. And LA does too. But we can't run a space program, whether we're the US and we call it NASA or we're not and we call it SpaceX, with a drug company or a drug industry. That's just foolish. So thank you for the laugh. I've listened to enough silence in this beautiful region of the world, and I would just like to see more open discussion and less black boxing of characters and identities and businesses and people. It's just too bad that it's got this way. I don't know how it got that way, but thank you.
Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak? Seeing no hands, we'll move on. Before we get to the consent agenda, I believe we have a motion.
Yes, I move to remove proposed council order 24-247 from the consent agenda and postpone it to the regular city council meeting on September 9th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there discussion on this item? Seeing, do we need a roll call vote? You can just pass it. So passed. Consent agenda.
Minutes of Bangor City Council regular meeting of July 22nd, 2024, Finance Committee meetings of July 22nd, 2024, and August 5th, 2024, Business and Economic Development Committee meetings of July 8th, 2024, and July 15th, 2024, and Infrastructure Committee meeting of July 15th, 2024. Liquor license renewal, application for liquor license renewal, Malt Wine Spirits of Husson University, doing business as Husson University, 1 College Circle. 24-241 order authorizing the city manager to accept $2,379.15 in funds as a result of a state criminal forfeiture, Dempsey. 24-242 order authorizing the city manager to accept 1 firearm as a result of a state criminal forfeiture, Dempsey. 24-243 order authorizing the city manager to accept $841.50 and 1 firearm as a result of state criminal forfeiture, Doobie and Lord Jr. 24-244 order authorizing the city manager to accept $984.30 in funds as a result of a state criminal forfeiture, Dumont. 24-245 order authorizing the city manager to accept $1,071 in funds as a result of a state criminal forfeiture, Oliver. 24-246 order authorizing the city to apply for a U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Healthy Homes Production Program grant funds in the amount of $2 million to provide assistance for residential remediation of hazards. 24-248 order authorizing the city to apply for a U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Eviction Protection Grant Program, EPGP, funding in the amount of $500,000.
I move passage of the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, consent agenda has passage. Referrals to committee and first reading.
24-249 order authorizing issuance of $4,191,000 of the city's general obligations bonds for the city's FY25 capital improvements and a tax levy therefore. First reading and referral to Finance Committee on August 18th, 2024. 24-250 order authorizing issuance of $2,400,000 of the city's general obligation bonds for a public safety training facility and a tax levy therefore, subject to approval of the voters of the city of Bangor. First reading and referral to Finance Committee on August 18th, 2024. 24-251 order authorizing issuance of $10,115,731 of the city's general obligation bonds for various school capital projects and a tax levy therefore. Then, is that a first reading? We didn't have this one.
Yes.
Okay, so that will be a first reading and referral to Finance Committee on August 18th, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Move these items be referred.
Second.
Motion and a second. Seeing no discussions, the item will be referred. Unfinished business.
24-236 ordinance amending Chapter 165 Land Development Code to correct clerical errors in the dimensional controls in Attachment 3, Schedule B. Councilor Fournier.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This ordinance will amend Chapter 165 Land Development Code by correcting clerical errors in the dimensional control table contained in Amendment 3, Schedule B. When the ordinance regarding multifamily and mixed commercial residential in the shopping and personal services and general commercial and services zones was adopted, the note number used for the lot area and the buffer requirements in the dimensional control table were overwritten in the Land Development Code by another ordinance adopted soon after. Therefore, the current numbers in the code did not reflect what was adopted in the original ordinance. Additionally, when the ordinance regarding co-living dormitories was adopted, the dimensional control table was erroneously left off of the adopted ordinance. This amendment will restore the table. In summary, this ordinance amendment will insert the dimensional controls for co-living dormitories and would correct the dimensional controls for multifamily residential and mixed commercial residential uses in Attachment 3, Schedule B of the Land Development Code. This item was reviewed and unanimously recommended at the Planning Board meeting on August 6th of this year. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for passage of ordinance 24-236.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there discussion or questions on this item? Roll call vote.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. Ordinance 24-236 has passage. Next item.
24-238, resolved, authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate $426,533 for the Supplemental Nutrition Education Grant Program from the University of New England. Councilor Fish.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This resolve authorizes the city manager to accept and appropriate $426,533 from the University of New England for a one-year period beginning October 1st, 2024, fiscal year 25. It is a 7th-year extension in a 5-year grant cycle to provide nutrition education to Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. Eligible residents of Penobscot and Piscataquis counties, these are federal funds passed from the USDA through Maine's Office of Family Independence to the University of New England, who manages the SNAP education program statewide. Bangor Public Health has been administering the SNAP education program locally since 2012. This item was reviewed and recommended at the Government Operations Committee meeting on August 8th, 2024. I move for passage of Resolve 24-238, Madam Chair.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, 24-238 has passage. Next item.
24-239, resolve, authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate up to $45,000 from the Maine Department of Transportation Carbon Reduction Strategy Plan for the purpose of installing new bicycle racks on community connector buses. Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This resolve would authorize the city manager to accept and appropriate up to $45,000 in funding from the Maine Department of Transportation for the purpose of installing bicycle racks on all community connector transit buses to help with first and last mile connections to transit stops, especially for electric bicycles. The community connector was approached by the Bangor Area Comprehensive Transportation System, BACS, and MDOT regarding available funding that supports the carbon reduction strategy plan. Community connector staff had been researching better options for bicycle racks to accommodate more bicycles, including electric ones and those with large tires. If approved, the city manager or designee would enter into an agreement with MDOT for the funding and apply it to the purchase of 22 bicycle racks. The city's fleet maintenance division would install the racks on all existing buses. This item was reviewed and recommended at the Government Operations Committee meeting on August 8, 2024. I would move passage of Resolve 24-239.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Discussion or questions? 24-239 has passage. New business.
24-252, order authorizing acceptance of the City of Bangor's annual comprehensive financial report for the year ended June 30, 2023. Councilor Trumbull.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I move for passage of Order 24-252.
Second.
This accepts the city's annual comprehensive financial report, including its general purpose financial statements and the independent auditor's unmodified opinion as prepared by Runyon, Kirsten, and Willett of South Portland. The Finance Committee worked with the city's lead auditors and reviewed various reports at August 5th meeting. I would just say that this is the last I guess not our last meeting, but this, mid-August almost. This is far later than we were hoping to get this accepted. We met in early August with the auditors. Was a number of reasons: staffing issues at the city, staffing issues with the auditor, the move from the city hall to here. But, there's a lot of excuses to put out. At the end of the day, it's unacceptable to the council, it's unacceptable to the public. We're addressing it going forward, so we definitely don't expect anything like this to happen next year. It's just, everybody realizes that what happened this year is not acceptable. But that being said, it was a fairly good audit, unmodified opinion, and no major findings from the auditors. So we got a good audit, just a lot longer than we were hoping to get.
Other comments or discussion? I'll just say a second what Councilor Trimble said. I was pleased with the results of the audit, very displeased with how long it took us to get here, feeling confident that between the process changes that were made by our staff and the staffing numbers that we've been able to achieve, that next year will be a much smoother process. We're already underway getting planning for October going so that we can start and end the process on time. Seeing no doubt, Order 24-252 has passage.
24-253, order authorizing the allocation of $2,551,851 in state and local fiscal recovery funds to fund infrastructure costs to support housing development. Councilor Dean.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This order would allocate the balance of unobligated ARPA funds as of July 29, 2024, in the amount of $2,551,851 to fund infrastructure costs to support housing development. For City Council year 2023 through 2024, the City Council designated housing as its primary goal. Over the course of the council year, City Councilors have been supportive of investing in the infrastructure to support the development of housing within our community. Two examples include: 1, infrastructure to support the development of housing at a 10-acre city-owned parcel on Grandview Avenue, and 2, addressing capacity issues of the Kmart pump station near Hogan Road. Prior to the commencement of any work using these funds as the funding source, the details of the project and estimate will be provided via the City Council committee structure. I move passage of Order 24-253.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Discussion on this item. Seeing none, 24-253 has passage. Last item, 24-254.
24-254, order referring an order entitled Proposing an Amendment to the Bangor City Charter, Article 6, Section 3, Nominations for Elective Officers to be made by petition to be included on the November 5th, 2024 municipal ballot for a public hearing. Councilor Leonard.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I make a motion on 24-254.
Second.
This order would refer an order entitled Proposing an Amendment to the Bangor City Charter, Article 6, Section 3, Nominations for Elective Officers to be made by petition to be included on the November 5th, 2024 municipal ballot to the August 26th, 2024 City Council meeting for a public hearing. Article 6, Section 3 of the City Charter limits the number of petitions for candidates for office a voter may sign to no more than the number of candidates to be elected to that office. The city's legal department has determined that this restriction is of questionable enforceability as it restricts political speech, which is highly protected under the United States and Maine constitutions. Staff recommends that this restriction be removed from Article 6, Section 3. This item was reviewed and recommended for passage at the August 5th, 2024 Government Operations Committee meeting. And I would just like to add that as someone who has taken nomination papers out multiple times and submitted them very late, and then having to get more signatures afterward because some people beat me to it, it is extremely frustrating, especially for people who are trying to do a civic duty to represent Bangor or any other municipality. I think this is a really phenomenal move, and I am very supportive of this.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Any other discussion on this item? All right, 24-254 has passage. That's the end of the regular agenda for this evening. Any comments from staff? Thank you, staff. Closing comments, Counselor Dean.
Good night, everyone.
Counselor Fournier.
Good night.
Counselor Leonard.
Good night.
Counselor Trumbull.
Good night.
Counselor Hawes.
Good night.
Counselor Fish.
Good night.
It's not even 8 o'clock. Should I say a lot of words? No, I will not. Thank you for coming. We are adjourned. Good night.